Hi, this is Meri at the Meri Atelier. I'm just getting set up for a live stream. This is Friday, June the 8th. Let me get set up over here. So I enter my own live stream so that I can read the chat. And I need to turn my sound off here. I had it on because I was doing a pick 10 with Lisa. Okay, welcome to folks that are coming in. Hi, everybody. Oh, my goodness. Y'all come in while I was setting up my chat here. Hi, Mitzi. Hi, Patricia Strufert. Ruth Lamb. Deborah Dieter, am I pronouncing that correctly? Hi, Kathy O'Neill, Laura Kai, Ruth Lamb, Rose. Hi, Rose. How's that eye doing? Hi, Kim Marie, Laura. Welcome, everybody. Y'all sneak in on me while I'm setting up my chat here. So good to see everybody here. Hi, Aunt Beck. Aunt Beck is finally online again. Yay! Welcome, Aunt Beck. So, it's Friday. Friday at the Meri Atelier. And I am ready for the live stream tonight. Yes. I like to start off. Oh, welcome, Deborah. Oh, thank you, Kathy. Those flip-flops were so fun to do. They were so fun to do. This is my Mornings with Meri art journal. This is a journal that I actually got, I think it was at Barnes & Noble's a couple years ago. And I got it in 2009 and I stuck it away. And I haven't been using it. And I was going through my things because I'm doing some reorganizing. Okay, Rose, that's fine. You just do what you need to do. And I ran across it, and I got all these blank pages, and I said, I need to fill up this journal. So I've been working on it, and this is my most recent one that I uploaded today. Flip-flops. And you know what? I use flip-flops in the title of my YouTube channel on the video, and it demonetized me. So when I got rid of flip-flops and put summer sandals, it let it go through. Hi, Jen. Welcome. Hi, Danny K. Isn't this fun? And I'm ready tomorrow to do some more ATCs. Hi, Holly. Welcome. Yeah. I don't know, Aunt Beck. Sometimes those monetizations, I caught it before I put it up. I uploaded it last night and I scheduled it for this morning, and it gave me the yellow $ little demonetization right after I uploaded it. So I had some time to work out what it might be, and I thought it must be flip-flops. Yeah. I think it's the word flop. And the thing of it is, what if I would have used the word thong? Would have they demonetized it? Because some people call these thongs. We call them flip-flops in our part of the world, but some people call them thongs, shoes, thongs. But I use sandals, and it let it go through. So, yeah. And this is my June 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm doing the ATC a day 2018 challenge. And this is the 5, 6, 7, 8. Laura says, I don't know how long I'm going to stay. I just had a fender bender. Oh, no, Laura. What happened? What happened? I hope you're okay. Yeah, I've heard these called thongs before, and I go, I wonder if thongs would get me demonetized. Because thongs can also be a ultra ultra thin bikini that ladies my age don't wear. Yeah, Lord, tell us you're okay. Tell us your car is okay. And you just stay as long as you want. If you need to leave, there's always the replay, or you can catch up later. You just, I know how that goes when something like that happens. It throws you off. Hi, Lisa. Welcome. My eclectic life, Lisa. Not a bikini, dental floss clothing. Dental floss clothing. Rose, that's funny. Yeah, that's about what they are. You know, ladies my age don't have the figures to wear those. Just broke the bumper. You know, I did that not too long ago when I came down to Nebraska. My sister-in-law house, you have to, if you drive into her driveway, I drove in and I back out. There's no parking on this side of the street. And when I backed out, I was just going to move my car. And I backed out and I was unaware that there was a car parked over here. And I hit it. It was a really nice lady, you know. Of course, I reported and everything. I hit her. I dented her driver's side of her car, and you know, I realized what happened. And it did a lot more damage to my car than it did hers, but that's the way it goes. That's the way it goes. So let me get started. I'm going to start by putting in some of these pictures. This is the one that we worked on last week, and this is a picture of painting, and there's a lady feeding. Of course, this is like in the 1800s or 1700s, and the horse is peeking his head through the window, and the lady's feeding it. And here's the photograph of a little boy feeding his dog Thanksgiving behind the chair. So I'm going to put that in here. I got this out of the Reminisce magazine. So I like to get caught up on some of these because I don't put the pictures in right after I paint them because the paint's still wet. And I'm still looking for one. I don't know what I did with it. It's here someplace. I've been reorganizing my craft room. Oh, yeah, I'll try to get that mystery started right at around 8 o'clock. I like to give folks time to come in. So there's that one. And here's the one I did with the little boy in his sled. And I'm going to take this documentation. I also got this out of the Reminisce magazine. And I like to keep the documentation of what the photograph is about on the back of the photograph. And I did not paint the back of this, so you can see there's advertisement. Walmart pharmacy advertisement on the back. So we'll just put that right here. And then this, I think I decided I was looking at this and I thought, well, I'll put it here, but I want that text to show. I don't like this part of it. So I do think I'll put it over here. A little boy in a sled. His parents made him a sled out of put a vitamin D milk box on a sled and made him a little box for a sled here. So I think I'll put that there, but this actually is more tape than I want. So I'm going to put this here, and then there's sledders coming down the hill over here. Let me zoom in just a little. There. So I need to get caught up with putting these in. Thank you. Thank you, Rose. Thank you, Holly. Yeah, there is a replay. Well, always watch the replay. And as always, Meri has trouble with getting disconnected. And when I get disconnected, you will see me spinning. Or you'll know when I get disconnected. It won't look like I'm doing anything, and you'll see that little circle spinning. Just hang tight. I don't know why I get disconnected so often, but I do. Hi, Jen. Did I say hello to you when you came in? I try to catch everybody as they come in. Has anybody seen Janet yet? I was watching for Janet, just because she's usually here. And then I found this one. I had done this page several weeks ago, and the only thing I could find was this. This is kind of like a Chinese war going on over here, a painting of a Chinese battle. They're fighting, or it could be Indian too, because they're fighting on an elephant, and they're shooting arrows at each other. So I put this little bugler on here. But I had found this picture when I was going through my fussy cuts today, and I think I'll put them down here. So let me put these in. Oops, that picked up a scrap on my page there, on my table. Let's see. Put this right here maybe. Thank you for the thumbs up. Let's see. This actually needs a thinner tape. Otherwise, I'll have it peeking out and sticking to the opposite page. The tape I'm using is called Mrs. Sparkles. I get it in the $2 box at Joann's. You kind of have to look for it. I'm just hoping that they keep it. It's kind of like a score tape alternative, and I do like it. I like it because, you know, $2, of course I've been using off of this, but $2 for a roll of tape, like double-sided tape like this, is a pretty good price, and I do find that it holds it quite nice. Now I think I'll put these guys right here, and then they'll flip up, and here's my bugler, and then there's this one. And I'll be going and putting more detail on these pages. This is the page that I'm going to work on tonight, and I got this out of the Ideals magazine. I don't know which one it was, but I do like these two young girls. But in order to get it to fit, I had to fold this gal. So I think I'm going to paint around here, and this is black and white, so there's no color to draw out, and there's no color on this. It's kind of a sepia toned. So, and I think I want this to go right in here, but I won't be putting it on tonight. Let's see. I need my wax paper. I found my wax paper. It's a new box. Wax paper's on my list. I got some at the Dollar Tree a couple weeks ago. I still have that around here. Where's the beginning of this? Oops. Where do you live, Meri? I am in a small town in Nebraska called Harvard. It's kind of in south central Nebraska. Town's only about 1,000. Small town. Small town. Small town living. So I can use whatever color I want on here. And I think I'll use I'll use a yellow color, make it nice and pretty, and I haven't opened this yet. The bane of my existence are these. I love that they seal these, but I wish they'd put a tab so that we could get them off easier. Better shake it up a little. This is Deco Art Americana, and it's Sunny Day Yellow. So when I do reverse collage, I just sort of finger paint. Just about what I do. There's a lot of ways to do reverse collage. I got started watching Dee Dee Willingham. Of course, that's kind of in our community where it all started. Was she started doing reverse collage in a Stampington magazine, and I'll be doing that in a few minutes here. Do I want any more color on here? You know, I don't think I do. I think I'll just keep this yellow. I think I'll put some around here though. Just kind of border this page. And Dee Dee, of course, has her own wonderful style that I don't even come close to. But she really works at it. When I do reverse collage, I like to do it in my lives because I can kind of do these backgrounds really fast and get the background going and then let it dry. And I've got a lot of detailing to do on these pages. This book is far from done, but we've done so many pages. Hi, Crafty Grandma. Welcome. I got to catch up with chat here. You guys are really chatting away. Hi, Janet. Hi, Leslie. Welcome, my lady. Leslie, I'm thinking if I get to it, I'm going to use these paint pens. These paint pens came in, Leslie had gifted me several months ago some Craft Smart paints from Michael's, a whole set of it. And these paint pens came with it. And I haven't used these yet. And I'm thinking I'm going to get these and use them. So, yeah. I'm going to work in my, if we get to it, this will be later on. I'm saving it till later because we want to do our Meri Mystery Challenge. What time is it getting to be? 7:46. I still got a few minutes. Let me set this aside. Let's work in the Art Doll magazine. I've got that already. The Art Doll magazine, I've been working in this, is a Stampington magazine that's been cut in half, a la Dee Dee Willingham style. And it puts the top half of the pages at the front and the bottom half of the pages at the back. So I'm constantly flipping back and forth to find a good page. And when I do these, I do 3 techniques. I paint in the background with reverse collage like this. And then I add a quote. And then I come in with my fine line paint applicator. Hi, Tina. Welcome. Hi, my arty moments. Welcome, welcome. Let's see. If I remember, you were in Jean's chat this morning. Do I remember you from Jean's chat this morning? I don't want to get you mixed up with somebody else. My arty moments. Hi, Gail. Welcome. I'm saying welcome to folks I've missed. If I missed you, it wasn't intentional. Hanging back with her mom and heading back to Indy tomorrow. Yay, Leslie. Leslie's been on vacation in Florida. I'm so jealous. Oh, let's see. I think I've said hello to everybody. Crafty Grandma. Kathy O'Neill says, after living in Washington, D.C., we love Nebraska. When we stopped there, moving back to Oregon. Oh, yeah. I have to tell you, I grew up in Nebraska. But then after I went to school through my college years, I moved away because the type of work that I was doing with the programming at that time, I just was not finding the opportunity for me. And so I've lived in Colorado and Indiana and Kentucky, and then my last 13 years before I came back here were in Madison, Wisconsin. And if I have a second home, it's Madison, Wisconsin. But I'm surprised after I moved back. Yes, Carol, the Musical Scrapper Studio. She had a YouTube chat. I might as well say this now. I think most of you probably already know that Ustream is going to start charging them $99. And I don't know if that's to stream or just to watch streams. I don't know. The fee, they said the fee is going up to $99 a month. Whoa, I don't have that kind of money. So a lot of the longtime streamers who say good things about Ustream are going to be coming over to YouTube. And I just happened to be on YouTube this morning, and I go, the Musical Scrapper's streaming live. And I popped in, and there she was. So, yay. So we need to welcome all the streamers, Ustreamers, that will be coming over to YouTube. If you see them on live, give them a big welcome to the YouTube art community. So this was done a la Dee Dee Willingham, and I've been working in this mostly just putting in, like I did in that Childcraft magazine, just putting the color in on the background. And this is the page that I chose to work on tonight. I like to leave the artist credited. Now I have to go, I wrote down page 56. I have to go to find the artist here who did this. Was Patricia Anders. She lives in California, and I don't touch her dolls. I don't touch the dolls. And in fact, this already has a lot of nice kind of a gray-pink background, so I may not be doing too much to this. And I like the title, Obsolete Reminders. I'll be leaving that and the collage of pictures over here. The quote I picked was, well, let's read her, because she did tell about her reasoning for this Obsolete Reminders doll. So she's got a lot of text. She's got a thinking cap on that doll. And then she's got a lot of text around the doll's bodice and arms, and she's got a tape of text coming here and text up there on the hat. But she says, the art doll Obsolete Reminders was generated in this way. Intrigued by a combination of these two words in an article I read from an old art magazine. So, see, even doll artists get inspired by art magazines. I began to contemplate the phrase and its visual counterpart. Contemplating the power of words by the repetitive way they stream through the mind and affect one's disposition and activity became my starting point. I am also fascinated how thoughts can be interpreted in a visual way. Peering through the glass thinking cap, you will see a torn piece of paper with the words obsolete reminder. This translates into a doll holding a strip of paper the size of tape with words that... Okay, I'm back. Sorry about that, guys. That's how it feels to lose data connection. Thank you, Janet. And Janet, did I say hello to you? And did I see Peg Robinson? Did I see Peg Robinson sneak in here? And Lisa Swank, hi. I gotta come back. Yeah, hi, Peg. Lisa, hi. Vicky DePros, hi. And did I see a Mitzi on here? I think it's Carol is my arty moments, if I'm correct. I can't remember for sure, but she's saying hi to Mitzi. So Mitzi Z, welcome to folks that come in. So I was telling about this art doll, Obsolete Reminders. The quote I chose for this page is really kind of interesting, by a lady called Anna Rose Wright. Some of you may be familiar with her. She wrote a book called The Whirligig House, and I think she wrote it in 1951. But it says, let's put on our thinking caps and see if we can can't have an idea, said Cricket, passing the caps around. So this thinking cap kind of inspired this quote. So that's where I'm going with that. Now, I'm not going to do a lot to this page. I think that I'm just going to, because I do want to get started with this, since there's a good number of you in here, I do want to get started with the mystery challenge, because I think a lot of you want to stay for that and then go on with your Friday night. Whatever you want to do is fine with me. But I do like to do my reverse collages right at the beginning here. Let's see. I want kind of a rosy color. I've got orange. I don't know if I have. I might mix some purple with white if I can find my white here. This may not be rose. This will probably be more of a lavender, which is okay too. And I need to clean off the caps on my... Hi, Gail. G. Brody. Hi, Karen. Welcome. Welcome to everybody who's coming in here. Nice to see you all. So nice to have you here. A lot of you are new to me tonight. If I don't, sometimes I have to, the regulars in here know how distracted I get. And they'll be talking to me and I'll be zoned out in my own little world. So if that happens and I don't know something you're saying, it's not that I'm ignoring you, it's that I'm in my little world. So just be aware of that, especially when I start doing something with the painty hands. Yeah, it's been a while, hasn't it, Gail? What was your most recent video that you put out, Gail? I was going to watch it on YouTube, and then I got sidetracked. It looked interesting. In the zone. It happens to all of us. So I want to mention a few of the online chats going on. Aunt Beck, she live streams on Wednesday evenings, usually around 6:30 or 7. Her time, she can give you the correct times. I know I'm just ending my supper when she's starting, so sometimes I don't get in there right away. She's Eastern time zone. Lisa at My Eclectic Life streams on Monday nights. Peg Robinson and Chelsea have Art Joy of Sharing. 7 p.m. on Wednesdays, Aunt Beck's Creations. I got paint on my phone here. Hi, Barb. Welcome. I got paint up there on my screen. I guess it'll dry there till after chat. That's all I'm going to do today. Well, maybe a little more white. I basically just, I like to bring the color out to the edge of the page. That's maybe be too much white. Let's see if I can blend this in on out. I like to bring it out to the edge of the page. And I have to tell you, I keep saying this, I'm never happy with my pages until after they're dried. Something about them not being dry. And after they're dried, I can go back and, oh, I can work with that in the background. So let's end that. And I know you were all wanting to start on the mystery challenge. Let me put my paint away. Now, I need to remind you again, if you're in here and if you're new, I'm famous for losing my data connection, and you'll see it just spin. Hang tight, I'll be right back. And I was telling you about Art Joy of Sharing's live stream is on Thursdays. Thursday mornings. Peg says, can't stay, need to go make dinner. Well, that's okay, Peg. I understand perfectly, but thanks for popping in. Okay, let me put this aside, and we'll talk about what I'm going to do for the mystery challenge. I have to tell you guys, I've been working in my room here, and I've been working in my room, and my mystery challenges, let me just get out my notes here. And I'm going to actually sit down while I do this. Hi, Dawn. Dawn's craft room. Let me pull up my chair here. Let me take a seat. Let me take a seat. This is my third mystery challenge. The first mystery challenge I did was that alphabet book where we cut out of the magazine, we cut out the big letters A through Z. And I am working in that, but I've been cleaning up my room. And I had everything pulled out, all scattered all over the room. I said, I can't live with this anymore. So I packed everything up in boxes. And my intention is to have everything that I don't immediately need packed in boxes until I can get the shelving worked out. And I'm intending to bring in more shelving so that I can unpack my boxes and put them in places where I know where things are. Well, the reason I'm telling you that now is somehow my mystery challenge number 1 is packed away in a box. But I have painted the front and back of the front and backs of all my letters to, I think, through letter H or I. So I'm intending to do more on that, and then I'm going to come back and use it as an en masse art journal page where on the back of letter A, I'll be journaling pictures of things that begin with letter A and do that clear through Z. So it's an ongoing project. My mystery challenge number 2 was the tatting, where I showed you how to do those loops for tatting and the little circular motif. And then I carried that through on my mornings with Meri with different corner motifs and background motifs and border motifs. Now I'll probably slow down on the motifs unless I think of something that I really think needs to be shared. So we're going to start mystery challenge number 3. And I have notes here. I want to emphasize that mystery challenge number 3, you might really want to start out working in a composition book, on composition book paper, or at least jot down notes. I'm going to start out rough draft because, you'll see why as we get going. But you can still use your I said to use like a paper punch, or you might even want to draw a circle, maybe use the cap of a paint bottle or something like that to, I reach for this, to draw your circles. So, but I think working on a rough draft, and you might even get so excited about it that you turn your rough draft into an art journal page. But let's see. Let me set some of this aside. I'm going to start out by saying, I'm just going to kind of go through the steps, and you can watch and decide whether this is something you want to do. If it's not anything you want to do, that's okay too. This is just kind of done for fun. I have a ruler, and I'm going to use this ink pen to start with. And I want you to, however, if you're working large or small, I'm going to be working across pages. I'm going to start out on this page, be in the front page, and then I'll probably go to a second page. Well, you'll see why. But what you want to do, or what I want you to do, is measure off a 3/4 inch border around all sides. So just kind of, and if you're doing this, this is why I say you need to do it kind of rough draft first, and then you can get more precise as if you want to refine it. So, and I'm just going to kind of work fast here. And I'm even going to bring my lines out to the margin. You may not want to. It just kind of, you can kind of make that decision as you go. But this, I want you to do, because this is going to be like a border for your page. And no, I'm not going to do a mind map. The circles are not for mind mapping. And the borders are not for tatting. So, however, I would love to see, and don't have any plans to do that here. What I'm intending this for is to be space to do some illuminated borders, like designs, and you can do those like with stamping, Zentangle, whatever you want to do in the border. And I'll get into that more later. We're not going to focus on the borders tonight, except for to leave a space for them, 3/4 inch around. And let me draw this, and then I'll go back to chat and see what's going on in chat. So this for me is going to be rough draft. Now, if I do this on my final page, I'm going to do it on, what did I do with it here? This size of paper that will fit into my art journals. So when I do this, leaving space in here, I probably will not draw these lines, but I will leave 3/4 inch border around here. So let me look at chat and see what's going on in chat. Hi, Tanya. Packer Dye. Hi, Packer. Welcome. Watching while harvesting magazine images. That's kind of one reason why I have this out. We're going to talk more about this in a little bit later. But I put fussy cutting as kind of my fill-in project for tonight. If I get to a point where I don't have any more to do, I put fussy cutting. I am fussy cutting images out of a history book. And let me tell you, there are a lot of interesting images in history books. I love history books. And it seems like such a shame to cut them up. But I'm going, no, this history book was read. I don't think it was a textbook. But it was, I got it at Goodwill. If it never sold, it would probably be trashed or set in somebody's basement and get musty. So I don't have, and I'm one for loving to read the pages while I'm fussy cutting. So I enjoy my history books. Let's see. We said welcome to Packer Dye. Thank you, Deborah. She says, I love your mornings with Mary. I lost my chat in here. Let's see. Kimmery. Deborah. Jan says, hi, Lisa. How are you? Tickled Pink. Hi, Sue. Susan Hillis. Welcome. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Sue Hillis has a channel. I love watching her videos. If you haven't subscribed to her yet, you might want to hit her icon and go check out Sue Hillis's channel. SUEHILES, Tickled Pink. Okay, I'm back to where Peg. Yeah, library book sales. My favorite thing to do. Okay, since this is going to be considered what I'm going to call my first page, I want to make room for a border here. And this is going to be kind of optional, but you won't want to draw a line, but I'm going to draw a line on mine as just an example of what that this is going to be like the top and kind of like the title area. And what you want to do is you want your name up here. So you could use your full name, your married name, you could use your channel name, like I'm the Meri Atelier. I'm gonna put my name. I'm just going to kind of, and this is why I say you might want to work rough draft at first, because you might want to go in and and stamp your name. You might want to go in and if you have an electronic die cutter, die cut your name out, or stencil your name in. There's 100 ways to put your name. I'm just going to rough draft mine in here. And what this is going to be, you're all curious about where this is going. What this is going to be, and I hope that you enjoy this, this is going to be the start of your personal timeline. Yeah. So you're going to put timeline here. Now, some of you may have done this before at one point in your life. I've got white paint on my hand. I'm sorry, I was painting. Timeline. This will make you think about your life. Now, in this area too, I was thinking this title area, you could put a picture of yourself, maybe from a baby picture or a picture of your age, a more recent picture, or you could do a collage of pictures in here and then put your name above it. You know what I'm saying? Kind of make a collage and then use your name and the timeline as journaling. There's a lot of different ways you could approach this. This is more demonstration. This is more rough draft. And I would encourage you maybe to work rough draft too, because I guarantee you that if you start and do this, you'll think of 100 ways to take this. I've been watching the gals that have been doing my tatting. Am I freezing? Nope. I've been watching the gals that have been doing my tatting patterns, and I'm just amazed at where they take it. I mean, they go far beyond anything that I would have done, and I'm going, these are just wonderful. And I guarantee you'll be wanting to do the same thing with your own, if you do this personal timeline. So this is just kind of like a start. This is just a start to get it started. And let's go to the painting. And that's why I said choose painting papers that don't have a lot of pattern, that are kind of muted in color. Like this would work. This in here might work. And let me pull out my scissors here because I'm never going to get my punch in there. And I like these. All these painted papers were sent to me in Happy Mail, and I'm just thrilled to be able to use them. But it doesn't have to be painted papers. You could just draw a circle. You could just use, you know, a lid and draw a circle. You could just freehand a circle on there as rough draft. I'm going to use some. And of course this has that little plastic cover on it. I like these covers, but I don't. So this is actually a 1.5 inch circle. This is I've got a smaller one. This is really too large for me. I would really prefer a smaller, maybe a 1 inch or a 3/4 inch. But this is what I have, so I'm going to use it. Let's do a couple of these. Thank you to, if the person who sent me this is watching, thank you so much for these painty papers. I'm enjoying these so much. Put it in the right way. And I hope you're not offended with how I'm using them. All right, I'm just going to start out with 2 here. And I'm going to go ahead and use my glue stick. Now, imagine, well, let's do, I will not, for my borders, this is not what I'm going to do in the very end, but in order to get some design on this page, let's use some washi tape. Just to say, this might be an illuminated border. You might want to Zentangle. You might want to use washi tape. But just to get some. And of course, this is that Michael's washi tape that if you don't pull it right, it tears. And I'm not going to fool with the rest of it. I'm just using this as an example because I'll be all night trying to find my... Well, here it is. I hate that it tears crooked like this. Let me look at chat. Tanya left. Let's see. I think Tanya is from the UK. Hubby wants to watch a movie. All right. Well, the movie's more important. Of course, Tanya, we don't begrudge your hubby his movie. My hubby can't sit still long enough to watch a movie. Kimber says, mine either. Right now, he's fixing my car. Well, that's good, Holly. He worked a 14-hour day. Wish he would relax a bit. Aw, isn't that sweet that he's doing that, though? They're talking about workaholic husbands. Let's go back. So if you have any questions along the way here, feel free to ask. Or if you just want to watch and see what I'm doing, this may be something you want to work with me on. Or you may want to watch this and think about what you want to do. This is just kind of like a challenge for something you might want to do. And I wish I had a smaller circle punch, but I don't. It's on my list for my next trip to Hobby Lobby, which will probably be the middle of this month sometime. And I'm just doing this washi tape on the borders to put an example of how you might want to do your borders. Or I was thinking more illuminated borders, but that's probably for folks that really want to be, you know, that would be a nice washi tape design for those folks that do washi tape. Wouldn't you love a washi tape of illuminated borders, you know, with the florals and the little animals and, you know, like the old-fashioned books have? I would buy that washi tape in a heartbeat. I'd buy rolls of it. So, if any washi tape manufacturer is out there, there's an idea for you. Give me an illuminated border washi tape, please. There's an idea, just sitting there. All right, I like that. It goes with the pink and blue of my circles. So I'm going to use my... And this you'll want to do fancier lettering on yours. This is just kind of all rough draft, just to give you an idea where I'm going with this. I'm going to use my glue stick to put my circles down. And actually, yeah, no, I think I want the pink on top. I'm going to put the blue one down here at the bottom. And let's put the other one on. Now, a personal timeline is going to be different for each one of us if you do it. I mean, according to how many years have you lived? Some of you are younger than me. Some of you are older than me. Let's get my marker out here. I actually put out this package with... I love these Pen Plus Gear markers. I get these at Walmart. And the Walmart that's closest to me, they rearranged their ink pen sections, and I could not find any more of these, and boy was I disappointed. But I traveled on to the next town, and they had a super Walmart, and I found them there, so I stocked up. I get 2 of these for 44 cents, and I use them like crazy. I love them. They're permanent ink. They're kind of Walmart's answer to the markers. I was thinking that my page is going to soak through here. I'm going to take this out, maybe put a scrap paper in there. Yeah, let me get a piece of scrap paper here. Hold on a minute. There's a piece right up here that I can use. I just don't want it to go through. If I put a circle here, I'll probably punch out a circle. This is going to be rough draft anyway, but I'll probably put another circle right there. on the back of it, so it makes a little sense. I'm just going to outline these so they stand out a little bit more. And this is, here again, you can do as you wish. This is just kind of rough draft hand drawn for me. But that's what all my art journaling is. And I have to tell you, when you get to a certain age, you lose track of a lot of things that happened in your life. I mean, I'm going back to clear when I was a toddler and going, wow, where did I live? I'm going to put my name in dark black up here. Just write it here really fast. And then, well, why do you want to do timeline? Well, first of all, it's fun, and it'll be a fun project to put in your art journal. But, you know, you think, too, if you pass this on to your family, they'll probably look at this and go, really? I didn't know that about you. So it's just kind of documenting in an artistic outline form. Thank you for waiting. So sorry about that. I don't know where I left off here with this timeline thing. I was telling you that I got the idea to do this timeline by actually through the history books. And I don't think this history book has a timeline in it, but I have a history book that it has timelines in the margin. And that's where I actually got that idea. And I thought how fun it would be to do a personal timeline. So where are you going to start, Mary? Well, I had some notes of where you might start. And this is where it really does get into rough draft. Because I guarantee you that once you get started, you're going to think of more things to put in here. And you're going to be, I got to reach down and put my phone back in here. You're going to be remembering things after you've written things down and go, oh, that should have been on there. So I would suggest to you to do something rough draft like this. It's still artsy. And then, you know, set it aside. Your subconscious will be thinking about this. I guarantee it if you start on this. And you think, oh, I need to add that. And you can come and kind of jot it in there. And then after you get it to a good form, then take and make it a formal page. And in fact, the reason I have this history book was not only to tell you where I got the idea for doing the timeline. This is the story of America. And you can see I've split the spine, I've pulled out the pages, and I'm thinking that I might do my own timeline and bind it in here. And I might split out because I don't think I can do, this is about 1.5 inches thick. I might make it thinner. But look, I could put the story of Meri. That's what I'm thinking. The story of Meri. And then put yeah, round and around we go. I apologize. I wish I knew the answer to that. I'm back. I think I'm back. Thank you guys for sticking with me. Yeah, I don't know what the answer is to this disconnecting issue. I'm in a rural area. That might have something to do with it. It might be that I'm using my phone to stream with, and my phone is out there grabbing other. I try to turn my notifications off, but who knows? The phone in the background is constantly doing stuff. But you know, a computer would be too. It might be that my connection is through the phone company. It could be YouTube has me on a server that is not a well-used server. Who knows? I can't control it, but I wish it would stop. So, to repeat, I was telling you why. Yeah, it's a rough night. what was the last thing you guys saw? Hi, Azure. Welcome. Before I fell the last time, what was the last thing that you guys saw? I was telling you about making this book as the story of Meri. Yeah, I put my hand over America. So I'm thinking about using, because I've already pulled these pages out to do all this fussy cutting. So I'm thinking about making my timeline in and putting it in the cover of this book. But this is another ongoing project. And that probably is what it will be for you guys too if you start this. I would just encourage you to kind of watch. You might want to do some things rough draft tonight just to get started. Let's see. Page size, you're going to want to think about your page size. You don't have to use circles here. You can use flowers or squares or triangles, any shape that you want. I mentioned doing a 3/4 inch border. That's what I'm going to do because I like the illuminated manuscript. It kind of goes along with, you know, what you might see with a title dedication page or something like that. I kind of like those. I'm going to put some circles there. I don't think I'll write on the back of this because it will flow through. This is just rough draft. It will flow through to the front. So that's something to consider. The type of paper that you're going to use. If you're going to use media like these markers that will soak through, you're going to have to consider how to handle this side of the page. How many times have I fallen already tonight? It has to be about the 5th or 6th time. Driving me nuts. How can I live stream and have a nice consistent live stream if it keeps doing this? YouTube, stop. Internet, leave me alone tonight. I'm trying to present a timeline. All right, I'm done with that. So I'm trying to watch it over here to catch when it knocks me off. It's really a bad night tonight. It's really a bumpy night tonight. I want to cover some of the questions. This is my little painty paper journal. I take this out on the front porch with me and I jot ideas and notes and sketches, and this is where I put my ideas for the timeline, right in here, right over this pretty painty paper. I was talking about when I got bumped off the last time, I was talking about putting this border around here and considering what type of paper that you want to use, because if you use a thin paper, you're going to have to consider how you're going to handle this because it will soak through if you use a media. So what I might do on here is paint this side out and maybe do a sketch, or you could put a photograph, maybe something that relates to an event in your timeline, maybe a postcard of where you grew up, a postcard of the state where you're living, anything like that, anything that relates to your timeline. Let me put this paper back in here. So the first circle here I had marked as, let's get it out, the year you were born. So you could do this any number of ways. You can think of a different way to word this, but I'm just going to put year born. And this is why I said that you want your circles kind of muted, painty papers. Now, you're all going to know my age. I was born in 1951. So there you go. I'll be 7. I'm not ashamed of my age. That's how old I am. So you might want to put the birth date. So I'm just going to put a little asterisk there. So put your date. Maybe the place. I was born in Montana. This is all public information. If you ever looked me up, that wouldn't be hard to find out. I was born in Montana. Probably wouldn't be too hard to find that about me. Then I put in here any special stories or anything that you were told about that day. So I'm going to put any, I hate to say information, I'm just going to put stories about that day. And you might even put in here some historical events in that year. There's anything that you can think of to relate to the year that you were born. Historical events. But these stories here are more personal. So, and of course, you're a baby, so you aren't going to remember them. But my mother told me personally a lot of things about the day I was born. She was hanging clothes out on the line when I decided to come on a Saturday. Well, I don't think that she was hanging clothes out on the... I was born on an early Saturday morning, but I think that in 1951, I think that she probably went to the hospital and spent a couple days in the hospital. But she was hanging clothes out in the line when I decided to make my appearance, or she thought she had to go to the hospital. And I thought that was interesting. Saturday's child works for a living. Then later, she said that my dad, before he took her to the hospital, decided he had to shave. So she said, here I wanted to go to the hospital and he had to shave. I'm going to put his face needed shaved here. I thought that was humorous. She evidently did too, because she was joking about it. I said humor. I'm going to put shave here. I'm talking too many things. Maybe the day of the week. That would be the date. I'm going to put I was born on a Saturday here. 8/18. Now you know my birthday. In Montana. I was actually born in a hospital. You might want to note that. Some of you might have been born at home. I was born at, my dad taught school. He was teaching in a small town, but I was born in another town called Lewistown. My mom told me I had black hair and violet eyes. Now, my mother had black hair, so I understand the black hair. And I said, well, Mom, I don't have violet eyes. And she said, well, all babies have violet eyes when they're born. So she said I had violet eyes. So those are kind of the things that maybe you want to jot down. Any memories? Now, this might be something that I would paint out here and put my mom waiting for my dad to shave. She was waiting to go to the hospital with me. Or maybe her hanging clothes on the line. And she also told me that she had sprained her ankle. So maybe, you know, when I knocked at the door wanting to get into this world, maybe she stumbled in the yard. I never quite got that story clear from her, but she said she had a sprained ankle. So those are kind of fun little factoids that you might want to relay on to your family. They go, Mom, I didn't know that about you. So then my next circle, and I'm actually doing 2 circles here. I don't have room for it, but I'm just going to write my year here, 1952 to 1957. And I'm calling this my preschool years. Now, you may not want to go by school years. I'm doing mine according to my school years up until I graduate from high school into college. Let's see what's going on in chat. Hi, Ann. Hi, Barbara Clark. Who else is in here? Let's see. Barb says, good evening, everyone. Mary, I can't stay tonight. Dinner's about ready to be called. Then I'm answering. All right, Barb. Well, thanks for popping in and saying hello. Janet says, I saved the newspaper for every, well, I bopped it, for every birthday for both of my kids from birth to 21 years old. How cool is that? See, those are that's the kind of thing that I would love to have for my own reference. Here's something else you might want to add up here is how you got your name. Who named you, or who named you, and how you got your name. My name is a little bit different. It's Meridel. My mother said that I have a grandmother whose middle name is Mary, and she wanted a grandchild named Mary. Well, Mom didn't want to call me Mary. She was in the hospital. My dad finally got her to the hospital, and she was reading a Red Book magazine. And she got my name out of that Red Book magazine. So it was in 1951, and I said, well, Mom, what was the story about? And she says, I don't remember, but it was a two-part story. I said, well, how did it end? I don't know. It was two-part story, so I don't know the story. I tried to find Red Book magazines of 1951. I haven't found one yet, and it might have been an older issue of a Red Book magazine that was just in the hospital lobby. I don't know. But I do know that there was a children's author who had the name Meridel, and I have an idea that if she was in a maternity ward, she was probably reading a story, a two-part story that was written by that author. She doesn't have many facts about the story. She just said I was named out of a Red Book magazine. So that's how I got my name Meridel. And then my middle name, I was actually named, I believe, after one of my grandmothers with my middle name. So my grandmothers had a lot to do with how I was named. Although my name is not M-A-R-Y, it's M-E-R-I. And Mother thought that was a pretty name, so that's how I got it. And I had a little story to tell you about that, because later in life, I was home talking to a recruiter on the phone, and I was explaining my name to him, because it's hard to hear, what is your name again? And after I hung up, my mom said, maybe I shouldn't have named you that name, because she had heard me explaining to that recruiter what my name was, and she was double thinking what she named me. And I said, no, Mom, I'm happy with my name. I wouldn't take any other name in the whole wide world. So she never mentioned it after that. But who named you? How did you get your name? Now, you could say if you had any other brothers and sisters. I mean, you'll think of lots of things to put in here. I was the third child, so you might want to put, your birth order. I was the third of 4 children, O-R-D-E-R. This is why you want to write rough draft, because you'll be thinking of 100 things to put in there. Let's see, what else is going on here? Barbara Clark. I said hello to Anne. Liz Taylor had violet eyes. Woo! Holly says. Anne says she was born in a hospital under construction. I got a tiny pink hard hat. Now, see, those are the types of things that you want to record. I mean, if that would have happened to me, I'd be painting this out and put a baby and then find a hard hat and put on that baby and paint the hard hat pink. Let's see, what else? Gail said, hi to all coming in and bye to those leaving. I agree, G. Hello to everybody who's coming in that I didn't get a chance to say hello to. Janice says, I keep the newspaper in a large Ziploc along with the paper plate and napkin from their parties, along with the balloon with their age on it. I'm nuts, I know. You're not nuts. Those are things that your kids may not value now, but when they get our age, they'll go, wow, Mom saved this. I'm so glad she saved this. Hopefully they'll say that. They'll appreciate it later. You're not nuts, Janet. Yeah, some of you may not want to do this. That's okay with me. That's, don't feel bad if you don't have if you don't have everything in your life, and if you don't have those memories, let's put it that way. But this is, this is not a requirement. This is just a fun thing to do. Not everybody's going to want to do it. That's okay. That's fine. We've got plenty of projects going on the YouTube art scene, I'll tell you. All
I know is I was born on hump day and they only had a boy's name picked out.
Well, that's interesting too. That's interesting too. See, those little factoids are things that might be interesting to someone in your family that may not even be born yet. Uh, as an example, when I came in here to Nebraska, I wasn't even on the internet. I mean, I was on the internet, but I didn't have internet connection down here where I'm living now. And so I did a lot of reading, and I read a book by a local author whose uncle was in World War II, and he was a pilot, and his plane crashed over in Italy, and it killed him. But she was researching his life, and all that documentation that was left was just, it was invaluable to her, and she never knew her uncle. And this is a way that you can document things for somebody that may not even be born yet. My little grandniece may get married and have I might have a grandniece, and she may be doing a family history and going, what do I know about great Aunt Mary? And if you do something like this type of information, no matter how spotty it is, you don't have to start with the year you were born. You could start with the current year. You could start, let me do another punch here, just for the fun of it. And you don't have to even do it according to birth year. You could do it according to your interest. What's going on in your life? Let me put this here, just for, I put the lid back on that. Just to give you some ideas for those of you who don't have all of that information at their hand. I get that. But you have your life at your hand now. You know where you live now. Let's start and work backwards. Here's your life in 2018. You might want to say where you live, who you're married to, if you're married. Your town, how many years. This is just to give you ideas. I'm not trying to force this up on anybody, but it's just another way to approach it. Maybe what your interests are. Are you interested in quilting? And of course, if you're in this chat, you're probably interested in art, maybe art journaling, crafts, photography, whatever your interests are. How many kids do you have? Children, their birth dates. You can just go on and on and on. Where were you last year in 2017? And you don't have to go by the immediate year. You could jump to 2000. What do you remember about the turn of the century? Where were you? Where were you between 1999 and 2000? How did you celebrate? See, there's just there's any number of ways that you can approach this. I'll tell you where I was. Let me think. I think I was in Nebraska. I came home. And when I say home, I was living in Indiana at that time. And I think I came back to Nebraska, and I was to visit family. I think that's how it goes. I'd have to check my own records. See, my memory, even at this point, that was 18 years ago. Well, 17 and a half years ago. Where was I at the turn of the century? I do remember one thing, though. I was a host on About.com, and they had gifted us so many shares of stock. But 2018 was that year 2K. You might even want to jot year 2K. I'm just telling you stories about my own life. They had gifted us stock, and the stock prices were going out of the roof between 1999 and 2000. Yahoo.com was their stock prices was like $600 a share. About.com's stock was not that high, but it was pretty high. And I think they gifted us as hosts 25 shares. I don't remember see, that's something too. I don't remember the exact amount, but I remember right at 11:30 p.m. I cashed in my online. I cashed in my shares of About.com stock and got the cash because I was going, it's gonna crash. It's gonna crash. It's not gonna last. Well, it didn't. It didn't last that high of stock prices. I think they're still out there. They sold out to another media company, but I'm no longer there. But that was one thing. I was an About.com host that year. So there's where I was. I can remember being in the hotel room and it was about 11:30 at night. I cashed in my shares of stock because I was afraid I was going to lose my money if I didn't cash it in right away. So then you might go back to 1990. Where were you in 1990? See, I have to count back. Where was I in 1990? I think I lived in Iowa then. I either lived in Iowa or Indianapolis. I went back and forth between those states because I was working as a programmer. And this is where you want to do little notes and do little jot notes and maybe do it as a rough draft first and then come back in and do it up really nice. I was going to be Hollister. I was supposed to be named Ralph, but Mom said sounds like puke, so they decided on Charlie. But I was a girl to everyone's surprise. Aren't there some girls named Charlie? Wasn't Charlie one of the what show was that? Was it well, it wasn't the Mod Squad. Those three gals that did mystery. Oh, I can't remember them. There's another thing you might want to put in there. The TV shows that you watch, the movies that you watch, anything about your life in those years to record your memories. And don't dwell on the negative stuff. Believe me, Meri has a lot of negatives in her life, but it's not going on here. I'm not going to tell everybody my failures. I'm not going to tell everybody the things that I didn't like about my life. I'm not even going to go there. But stay positive about it. I don't know. That's about all I could say. Let's see, what else is going in chat? Dawn says, my parents went with a name that started with D. Older brothers were Douglas and Dan, so Dawn. I love that. And David. Anne says she was also a third child and a surprise. I came with a microwave and a dishwasher. And that's funny. My mom did the same thing with us. Daryl, Danny, Denise, and Dwayne. See, these are things that are nice to get down on your page. And you know what? Even though I'm talking about somebody in your family may appreciate this later on, you don't have to do that for somebody in the future. You don't have to share this with anybody. This is your personal timeline. You might want to do this and tuck it away someplace. This is anything that you have to share with the world. I find it very helpful because believe me, as I'm sitting here, I'll show you my notes. Here I went by school year, and you aren't going to be seeing this too good because it's scratchy. But here was the year I was born, and then I went from 52 to 57, and then I've got the years in between. My first memory, any other memories that I had, so I jotted down what my very first memory was. I jotted down my memory of the little Cocker Spaniel that we had, where we lived. Some of these memories, these are preschool. This was like when I was 2 or 3 years old, and they're just vague memories, probably out of 1 or 2 days in my life. And then we moved from this town where my dad was teaching to another small town in Nebraska. And I remember that move. And I remember building, we had a lot more snow back then. I can remember building snow forts. And of course, you know, when you're a child, those snow forts are bigger and they're a fort. They aren't just a couple of snowballs piled up. But I remember the snow forts. I remember my dad planted sweet corn and sold it, and we had an apple orchard, and he sold apples, and he loved tomatoes. He planted a lot of tomatoes. There would be people coming from all around the area there to buy tomatoes and apples and sweet corn from my dad. That's another memory I have. I remember an old barn that we had when we did this move to this other town. My mom would tell me, don't go climbing on that barn. Don't go, well, you know, don't says, I dare you. So one day I was climbing out on that old barn, and of course, I must have been pretty rough on it because it tumbled in. And I was up on the roof. Well, I must have had angels watching out for me because I remember it falling. I mean, the barn collapsed, and I was out on top of the roof, and I remember my mom running out there to see if I was alive. Yeah. But I was, you know, the only thing I could say is I must have had a guardian angel. First day of school. What do you remember about your first day of school? Who was your teacher? Who were your childhood friends? So I went through school, my primary years, from 1954 to 58, or that would be up here, primary years and elementary years and junior high school years and high school. And that's where I quit making notes, because after I get done with high school, there will be college, and I went to business school. I took some programming courses, and then I'll probably get off into where all my jobs took me and where I lived. And up to my present day, like I said, I lived, before I moved here to Nebraska, I lived for 13 years in Wisconsin. And that probably is, if I had to have a second home, it would probably be Madison, Wisconsin, because I love living there. I miss that. Here's my little sketch of the kitty that I did on my, I sketched him out here first. So that's my mystery project. I'm not going to dwell on this anymore. I'm just going to present this first page and where I'm going with it. I'd love to see if some of you decide to do it, what your drafts might look like. You don't have to share it though, because these are things that might be private to you. I've opened up a lot about my private life here, but I'd like to hear about it. Even if you don't want to share the actual timeline, I'd like to hear about those of you who decide to do it, where you're taking it. So to me, this is fun. To me, I think I am going to do the story of Meri here. And who knows how this will be an ongoing project. This will be worked on whenever. That's how things go for me. But once I start them, though, you know, I keep them around. So, there we go with that. That was my Meri's Mystery Project. I'm going to put this in here. I have something else that I want to share with you. It's not a part of the Mystery Project. Let me catch up with chat. I'm way behind. Dawn said, we had a childhood group after our names. I can't even pronounce that, Dawn. Shelby Dill, Ellens, and Pfeiffer. The Venifers. Thank you, Dawn. Pacala says, Jean, this reminds me of your Florida vacation scrapbook. Hi, Jean. Hi, Pacala. I didn't see you guys coming in. I was presenting this project. Welcome. Jean is the musical scrapper, and Pacala, I don't know if you have a channel. Do you, Pacala? But they are both Ustreamers. So say a special welcome to them. We want to welcome the Ustreamers onto YouTube.
Yeah, we do. It did, Don. I'm scrolling back through chat. I was telling about the barn falling, and Don said, I bet it scared your mom. I think it did. Lisa said good night. Love this mind mapping, Mary. Thank you, Pocola. Speaking of mind mapping, let me show you where I am going next. Let me get it out here. Let me put this aside. Now this is not mind mapping. This is not mind mapping. This little book, let me zoom in a little here because it's not showing up as much. Hold on a minute. I got to plug my phone back in or it'll use my battery. This little book, let me zoom in. Good night, Carol. Hi, Cindy. Cindy Signs Utter, Artsy Endeavors. Special welcome to Cindy. I watched your tour of your room, Cindy. Wow, how cool. I could get lost in Cindy's room real fast. I want to show you this little book, this little notebook. Am I zoomed in enough? I feel like I need to zoom in just a little bit more. Hold on. This little book was gifted to me by another of Dee Dee Willingham's, I say crowd. She learned about me from Dee Dee Willingham. Her name's Annie V. Such a sweet lady. Such a sweet lady. I didn't know her until she started sending me stuff. She was cleaning out her studio and she sent me 2 big boxes of art supplies. And I have done Happy Meals on them. But this is one of the things that she sent. And I just love this book. It's just a notebook. It's just a notebook. I love the cover. And I was looking for something to start out what I wanted to do for another project. Yes, another project, another journal. If you check my community tab, you will see where I have posted today a video. I don't remember his name. I want to call him Matt. I've just started watching. I just subscribed to him today. He does a lot of sketch notes. Now, I know you guys probably are all familiar with sketch notes, and it's like bullet journaling, and you see a lot of this, but I really haven't done a lot of sketch notes. So I watched his video, and I started sketch noting today, June 8th. And I just started sketch noting what I did today. Like, here's a little coffee pot. I made my morning coffee. I watched YouTube videos. I got my phone with a little YouTube sign. I finished reading my armchair mystery book, Laura Child's, The Keckleberry Club. Just fun reading. I sit out on the front porch. Here's my porch swing. And then here where I'm preparing what I'm going to do tonight for my Friday Night Live. Here, do I have them here? I want to show these to you because I kind of got a question on that. Here. Gina Ahrens passed around some Happy Mail. And I got what I wanted out of it, and I'm going to keep passing it on, really, guys. I'm adding, as I'm doing my cleaning, I'm adding some things to the box. But this was in one of the boxes that Gina sent. UB Mini Gel Pens. I don't know where she got them. I don't know if she got them on Amazon or if she got them at her Japanese place. I don't know. And I'm not a gel pen user. But this side is regular gel pens, and this side is glitter pens. And you can't see this, but this is all the blue glitter pen, and I love them. But as I was starting to use them, here's my question. They clogged up on me. How do you get, for those of you that do a lot of gel pen journaling or anything, do you ever have your gel pens clog up on you, your glitter pens? These don't clog up. These I don't have any, these are just the plain gel. I'm not having trouble with these. But these beautiful glitter pens, I was using this blue, and, you know, like I was sketching this and everything, and I got over to here on my next page, and it clogged up, and I used purple to finish it out. So, any hints on how to unclog a glitter pen? Try wiping off the end with a baby wipe. I'll do that, Cindy, but not here. I'm not going to do it tonight because I just kind of... Any hints that you can leave in chat I do go back and read my replays. So if you guys got any ideas, I'd appreciate it, because these are ideal to take out on the front porch with me, because they fold up really nice, they close up really nice. It's, you know, it just, you hold this in the palm of your hand. I really do like these. So here I've got a picture of the little gel pens here. Then I'm going, well, I want to do more sketch noting. So I did a second page. I'll be doing these. I won't be showing you all of this. I'm just showing you how I started. So here I decided to watch a TED Talk. And the TED Talk was given by Simone Gievtz. And the title of it is Why Make Useless Things? And I'll put in the bottom of this chat, I'll put a link to that TED Talk. But her talk went over well. She had the audience laughing because she was showing all these useless things that she made. She made this t-shirt out of googly eyes. Maybe some of you saw that. Barb says, oh golly, the minutes can wait. She's talking to Cindy. Yeah, I really like TED Talks because you can listen to them give a lecture, and these lectures are sometimes coming by experts. It's coming by, you know, it's like your opportunity to attend a lecture when you're in a small town and there's no formalized lecture circuit around. But I really enjoyed this TED Talk, and she was talking about seeing a problem and then inventing a solution. And my problem was the glitter pen. See, I wrote glitter pens clog up. Well, the solution that Cindy told me was to try a baby wipe. So I'm going to try that, and I'll go back and read the chat and see if there were any more solutions. But it took her, she said it took her 14 hours. It took her 14 hours and 227, I think, googly eyes to make that shirt. I got 14,227. I'm not sure what the 227 is. But then she said why she liked it. She put it on over her top. She put the googly shirt on. And she said the reason she liked it is because she could shake it and all those googly eyes would shake. And the reason that she made this googly-eyed shirt was because the problem was that she had was talking about the fear of speaking in front of a large crowd because you've only got two eyes looking out and 200 sets of eyes looking back. So her solution to that was to make a shirt of all these eyes staring back at the eyes that were staring at her. You know, she really got a sense of humor. She also showed another problem was she didn't like to brush her teeth. So she invented an automatic toothbrush. It was really a contraption that it brushed her teeth for her, you know. But she was talking about how teaching yourself of being stupid and the fear of building things that will fail. Am I live? Yeah, I am. So I at that point, I started getting inspired. And that's what all these little ideas are. And when she talked about the fear of building fails, I started thinking about art journaling. Now, we always say in art journaling, there's no failure, there's no mistake in art journaling. But it got me to thinking about what things do we consider a failure in art. And that's what I want to do tonight. And that's where I want to use Leslie's paint pens. Oh, the other thing I wanted to tell you, remember that art doll, obsolete reminders? I have a whole set right up here. Let me pull them out here. I have a whole set of obsolete reminders. This one's from tonight. These are all the things that I jot down of things that I want to do, little reminders that I want to do in my live streams over the weeks. They're all obsolete. These weeks are gone. These are all obsolete reminders. I'm just telling you that because I pulled this out when I reached for my paint pens here. I also want to use, let me get it out here, this big old this fat magazine idea playground. In fact, I might use it right here. And what I want to do, we're talking about mind maps. I want to, with your help, maybe I'll go back to that white page. Not that one. Where was that white page? I opened right to it. Let's go back. This one will do. Well, no. Maybe I want to, here, this will do. It says keepstake it there. This is all painted out. This is my, I haven't been using this much. I want to use it more. This is my magazine idea playground journal. This was inspired by our beloved, let me get it here, for the Ustream gals, Dee Dee Willingham. This is my caricature of Dee Dee Willingham. And then I put here, better get crack-a-lackin'. Like this. She just inspired me. She inspired this whole magazine idea playground. Let me open this up. What I want to do with your help, and if we're into mind mapping tonight, I think I'll just pull out this. Well, I want to use different colors. I'm going to pull them all out. Oh, they're taped in. You can see I haven't used these. These are first time use. Hopefully they're all good. Let's just pull them out. Because I tend to just use one or two colors when I mind map, and I want to get to using more colors. What we're going to mind map, and I gotta look at the chat a little bit more. Because I'm just getting set up. Let's start with the blue and do this. We're going to do the circle, and I can't do it in the center here because the magazine is oh, I'm gonna have to prime these. Give me a minute while I prime this. I look at chat. Hi Pad says, yikes, I need a long line. I don't know what you're talking about, but Dawn says she loves TED Talks. There we go. Oops, got tape on my hand. Let me get rid of this tape. Okay, I'm just going to draw. I think I'll draw my circle over here. And I want you guys to help me identify what we would consider art failures. What are some things? Now, I know when we do art journaling, we say, or when we're working on art, we say there's really no failure. But what would we consider an art failure? The one thing that I can think of is, and I'll draw an arrow here just to get us started, and that would be a sloppy fussy cutting. So throw out some art failures, and I'll put them on here. When it does not turn out like you had in your head. So, does not meet vision, did not, well, I'll just say what she said. When it does not turn out, when result is not what's in your head. I'm going to put unintended result. Unintended result, which could be a good thing, but when result is not what is in your head, that was from Lisa. Art muddy paint mixture. That's a good one. Muddy paint. Art failure to me is when it comes through like a drunken sailor on a 3-day furlough. Now, how am I going to write that down? Give me an art definition of that, of a drunken sailor on a 3-day furlough. Let's see, a drunken sailor, I could visualize it like he's kind of had too much to drink and acting crazy. Picola, products don't perform as promised. That's a good one. Thanks, Picola. Products don't perform as promised. See, I would have never thought of these. I got sloppy fussy cutting. I'm going, uh-oh, maybe this won't be a good map. But see, that's why I love it when you guys give ideas, because I would have never thought of these as promised. Let's see, did I miss any? Let's go back. Hi, Valerie. Let's see if I missed any. Try wiping end off with baby wipe. That was my gel pen thing. All right. The meds can wait. Hello to Valerie. All right, I think I'm up with you guys. Let's see. Cindy says different size eyes. And that could be on animals or potatoes or people. I'm thinking she's thinking about faces. Products don't perform as promised. So bad you threw it in the garbage. All right, I'm going to put so bad you threw it in the garbage. So there was something about it that you didn't like. So and you threw it you threw it in the garbage because you thought it was a failure. So bad you threw in garbage. See, now I'm thinking, as we're going here, I'm thinking of little sketch note things. Like, I could come back in here. Let's do that in a kind of a different color. I'll catch up with the ideas. Oh, I should have primed these. I didn't know I'd have to prime these. I may only just use a couple colors here. And I'll prime this blue one. I like paint pens because you're drawing on paint. So let's do a little scissors here for bad fussy cutting. Maybe snipped off the nose. No. I'm gonna put snipped off nose. And over here, the product doesn't perform as promised. Could be a paint pen or glitter pen. I'm going to put glitter pen clogged. So bad you threw it in the garbage. I could put a little garbage can over here with some art being thrown in it. Muddy paint. You could, put paint in there and muddy it up. Unintended result, which was not in your head, so you could kind of do a little brain thing here, with a head with a, what you're visualizing in your brain. Just do a face, kind of, and then looking at the art, seeing, uh-oh, that didn't match. Different size eyes, you could have a big eye and a little eye. All right, let's go back. Where was I at here? Different size eyes, different products didn't perform as promised, so bad you threw it in the garbage. Chemically, bad mixes and mediums. Alright, so I'm just put chemically. I could see something fizzing up. Chemically, bad mixes. And that could go for color too, kind of like the muddy paint. Mixes and mediums. I see a test tube explosion. Let's see, what else? Giving up. I could be an art failure. Hi, the Savvy Life. Welcome. You're new to us tonight too. Welcome to all the new folks coming in, especially all you Ustreamers. We want to welcome all the Ustreamers to YouTube. So bad you threw it in the garbage. Chemically bad mixes and mediums. Giving up. We'll put giving up in here. I hope you're not giving up on my mind map. Generate says run out of project mid. Oh, running out of product mid project. Not enough product. Running out mid project. Let's see what else. The product made you sick. I guess that could be a chemically bad mix. Well, I'll just write product made you sick. Although that may not be anything that you can control other than not buy it anymore. Let's see, what else? Ginger Rogers, hi. Missteps causes problems like smeared ink. Missteps like smeared ink. I do that a lot on my, I go, oh, ignore that little smear on my on my tatting doodle. Melted with heat gun. These are really good. These are really good. Melted with heat gun. Oh, I can think of one. Using glue on foam. E6000. E6000 to glue foam. E6000 glued foam melts. Foam. It just disintegrated the foam. I don't know how to spell disintegrated. I'm going to put melted foam. I did that thinking I'm going to use E6000. I was making a stamp for mark making. And I thought, I'm going to glue this foam down onto a piece of cardboard and use E6000. I looked at it the next day and there was no more foam. The E6000 disintegrated it. Melted heat gun. The next journal page bleeds through and ruins it. I do that too. So we'll put bleed through to next page. Sorry, guys. Foams are fickle with glues. Good night, Don. I'm back. Sorry about the... I can tell you a lot of failures with live streaming. Losing data connection. Okay. Let's see, where was I? Melted heat gun. The next journal page bleeds through. Substrate failure. So you could be working on maybe a thin piece of paper, and maybe you're doing something with really, maybe you're gluing or scraping something and you scrape through the page. I mean, substrate failure. It can be a lot of different things. If the page or the paper or your substrate may not be strong enough to hold your product. Barbara Clock says, I like even my bad pages whenever I see them. I learn again what went wrong. That's a good point, Barb. Learning, I'm going to write this here. Learning what went wrong. That's an excellent point. What went wrong? And I want to tie that back to what inspired this mind map, this TED Talk of why make useless things, because she ended it by saying, it's the expression of joy and humility to build something that's not useful, but you're sharing all your enthusiasm with other people, and then she says, I may not know all the answers when I build something that turns out to be useless, but I asked the right questions. So here, by doing all of this, we're learning what went wrong with all these failures when we build something that fails. We're kind of asking the right questions of what caused a substrate failure. Why why can't you use that heat gun on plastic? How do I fix or prevent a glitter pen clog? Why did I dislike it so much that I threw it in the garbage? Sloppy fussy cutting. What do I need to do my fussy cutting? For me, I think I've solved it in a way. My cutting circles, fussy cutting a circle, I'm not good at it. But I found out that if I leave, they call them comic book fussy cutting, if you leave that little border around it. I like my fussy cutting so much better when I just leave that little white border around the whole image that I'm fussy cutting. So by analyzing all your art failures or things you're not pleased with, even though they aren't exactly what we expected, we're learning about what went wrong and what not to do the next time. I'm going off of Barb's point when she said, I like even my bad pages. Whenever I see them, I learn again what went wrong. Joan, hi Joan. I can't pronounce your last name, Nigler. Welcome. Buying all sorts of supplies and not using them. Not using purchase supplies. This is the first, I didn't buy these, they were gifted to me. But I want to use what I get. Yeah. I still have things that, like that Big Shot. I opened that a couple streams ago. That Big Shot, I got my YouTube payment. You guys gifted me. I took my money that I earned over the last several months and bought a Big Shot, courtesy of help through Cindy. Thank you, Cindy. She ordered it on Amazon for me and let me pay her. I bought it, and now I got the handle on it. I finally got the handle on it. Now I need to start using my dies and learning, the different sandwiches and things like that. I'm getting there. I haven't used it yet, but I'm getting there. I was going off of Joan's comment of buying supplies and not using them. Lisa says, pages stick together and tear. Oh, there's nothing that's more frustrating than pages stick together. And tear. I'm going to put /tear. That is frustrating. Not using a product correctly trashes your art. So, not using product correctly. And I just put trashes art. She means that it's an oops. It's not knowing what your product will do. Not as good as others. Now, Cindy, you know better than that. But that is a failure in a way. And it's not a failure because your art is a failure. It's a failure in your thinking. We often compare ourselves. I'm going to put comparison. And we all know better than to compare. I think Cindy's being cynical here. I can't write the whole thing in there. But it's that feeling. That is a failure feeling. Like I might compare my painting to somebody like the Art Sherpa, or I might compare my sense of color to Cindy's Cindy Signs Utter has a wonderful sense of color. I admire that so much. And sometimes when I'm doing my pages, I'm going, this isn't like Cindy would do it. Now, I don't do that with glue booking. Glue booking, I says, Cindy has this way, but Meri has this way. But, yeah, I think comparing ourselves is a failure. That's a good point, Cindy. Cindy said hi. Hi, Joan. Let's see, Joan says, buying product and not using them. I got that. Dawn says she's fixing to go to bed. Thank you, Dawn. Sweet dreams. Night-night. Everybody's saying goodnight to Dawn. I'm catching up with chat here. Foams are fickle with glues. Please wait, ladies. Meri will be back. Do you see how far behind I am in chat? Spills on a page. Spills on page. Good point. I need more space. Spills on page. Barb says she's buffering. Are you all with me? I'm totally way back in chat. I hope you're with me. Patricia Stubbs, welcome. I'll try to catch up with you guys here in chat. Lisa says, refresh Barbara, coffee spills. Oh. Illegal fluids. So that kind of goes with spills on page. I'll put coffee too. Coffee spills on page. Barb says she refreshed. Hi, Patty. Patricia Stubbs. Joan says she just figured out how to chat. Well, good, Joan. Welcome. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome to all the new people in here tonight. When the pages stick together, you end up with texture. I guess that's unintended texture. Unintended texture. Barb says, gee, I'm always saying this isn't how Meri would do it. I think you're referring to me saying this isn't how Cindy would do it. Joan says, Meri, how about making a mate for Penelope and naming him Sir Art Failures? I don't know. I have to find a male head. Penelope might like a friend, though. What would we call him? I can only think of Peter. I'm going garage selling tomorrow. I'll look for some male dolls. Maybe I can find a Ken doll or something. That's a good idea, really. We could call him Peter Pinhead. All right. We might have to start a new mind map of what to call our male pincushion doll. I'm going to have to write that down. Here, we'll do Dee Dee's trick of... I don't do a lot of post-it notes, but I'm going to put this down. Male pincushion doll. We might have to mind map names for him, though. All right, let's go on with the chat. Let's see. Meri, gotta run. Good night, Gail. G. Brody, thanks for popping in. Good night, Dawn. Janice laughing at Jones, male pincushion doll. Lisa says, I got 3 loads of laundry to put up. Thanks for popping in, Lisa. Janet says, good night. Peg says, good night. Ezra says, I'm always worried that my stuff might look like someone else's. I don't want that. I want my vibe on my own things. Peg says, I'm with you. That's a very good one, Azure. All right, so how could we say that? Copying? Unintentional copying, maybe? I don't want to say copying is a failure, though. I'm thinking of a good way to phrase that. Pierre, Ferdinand and Pierre. I'm trying to think of a good way to say I don't want my art to look at somebody like somebody else's. I'm just going to write that because I can't think of a good paraphrase. Don't, well, we don't want don't. Let's see. Art looks like everyone else's. I think that's a matter of arting, though. If you keep it up, truthfully, I think when you start out, and if somebody is your mentor, you admire somebody's art, and if you want to do the same thing, let's just say somebody drew a picture of a face or created a comic or something like that, and I admire it, and I draw it. I think that's okay, not to claim it as your own, but to learn from them. And the more you create, the more art that you create, the more you find yourself, and you're getting to that point to where Azure says, I want my art to be me. I don't want it to be thee. And I think as artists, the more you work, the more you'll incorporate all of those ideas and techniques and everything. I think eventually you will come out because there's really no way you can be somebody else. But I think it's okay to use somebody else as a model. Like I admire so many people online. I admire Dee Dee Willingham. And even though I'm doing reverse collage, there's no way that my reverse collage even comes close to what Dee Dee Willingham does. But it's the same technique. The same way with Gina Ahrens and her watercolors. I admired, and even Ian Jackson, if you know Ian Jackson, he is doing wonderful watercolors now. He posts them on Facebook. And, I just admire it so much, but I don't want, you can see some technique that they're using. And you even do that as art students. If you go to like a university and you take an art class, they might take you into a museum there on campus, and you might sit there and learn and draw or paint from something that's hung up in the gallery. And even though you're not copying it, you're learning from them. You're going, how did they create that technique? But yet, you don't want your art to look like Gina did it. I don't want my art to look like Dee Dee did it. Even though I admire both of them tremendously, you want eventually to come to the place where you go, that's me. I'm happy with that. And sometimes I'm there and sometimes I'm not. Sometimes I'll do pages that I go, wow, this worked. And then other times I go, uh-oh, paint over it. I don't do a lot of painting over. I did once in my Mary's Morning Journal. I did a page and I wasn't happy with how I journaled on it, and I wasn't happy with the border, and I did paint over it. And when I draw faces, I don't generally, if I make a mistake and I know it's a mistake, like say I draw an eye here and my other eye is out of sync, I generally don't, I might recognize it and move it in sync, but eventually, especially if I'm using a pen with water-soluble ink, all of that gets worked in. Very seldom do I paint that out or erase it. It will eventually just fall into the background. I don't know how I got off on that. Want your own style. Yes, your own style. I started a project several months. Good night, Danny. I'm back. At least I got a good segment in before I fell offline again. But we were talking about finding your own style, and I was telling you that I started a segment, well, it would have been a couple years ago because I was still in Madison, called Vocabulary, Vocabulary. And I was talking about ways that you can find your own style. And I never completed that. I have a couple faults. I have a couple faults artistically. And this may go in with art failures. What are your artistic faults? I can tell you a couple of mine. But one of my artistic faults is I overcommit on projects. I've talked about that before. Meri is famous for overcommitting because I can't say no because I love everything. I love the next project. I love iCads and ATCs and journal pages and watercolor challenges and drawing challenges and doodle challenges, and you know, I can't say no. So one of my biggest faults, number one faults, is overcommitting. The other fault that I have, and you recognize this with me, is I have a problem finishing. I'll start things and I have a problem finishing them. Now, art journal pages, I can generally sit down and finish an art journal page, but I'm talking about a project. Well, I don't want to say my time. Sorry, guys. Am I back? Sorry. This is not one of my failures, though. This is a technical failure from YouTube or the internet. Keeps dropping my live streams. I was talking about my personal art failures. My biggest, and recognizing those failures is a big step toward learning what went wrong and how to quit. Like when I overcommit, I have to learn to say, no, I can't do that. You know, I'd love to, but no, I can't. I'm still not there yet because I get so enthused about art things. The other problem I have is starting things, getting enthused and starting them and then never getting them done. I have a lot of unfinished projects. I have a lot of good intentions, but sometimes finishing is a big problem for me. I generally finish my art journal pages, you know, that because it's just a page. I can't, you know, I have a lot of projects that aren't finished. Well, here's an example. Last Christmas, I did a doodle challenge with Messy Table Studio, Vicky, and we carved stamps. Well, I was enthused about it, and I carved all those corner stamps to make my Christmas ornaments. Now, I do think I probably have 31 of them, but I didn't finish 31 days. So, you know, to me, I'm going, I really didn't finish that. One of my October Inktober challenges, I didn't finish that like I wanted to. I get sidetracked. That might be the third thing. I'm easily, I'm easily sidetracked. So these are personal things that you might, EAS, easily, I don't know how to spell either. Easy sidetracked. These are things that you need to recognize in yourself. These are just 3 things that I recognize with me. You put a good project in front of me and I'm there. I get sidetracked. I go down all those rabbit trails. Let's see. We said goodnight to Danny. Good night, Danny. Azure says too similar. Mimic. Too similar. Picola says want your own style. Fill up my cushion. Peg's giving, you guys are giving names. I'm not ready for a male pincushion name challenge yet. So keep your names in mind because I'm not writing them down, but I love them. Good night, Danny. You're probably long gone, but hi, Maricha. Maricha, the Junkin' Data girl, just got home from work. Maricha, we did a mind map on art failures. What things in art would we consider, even though there are really no failures in art journaling, there are things that frustrate us and that really are kind of failures, and that's what we did this mind map on. Let me just go over some of these. Products don't perform as promised. not using our purchase supplies, comparing ourselves to others, not enough product, we're running out mid-project, sloppy fussy cutting, E6000 glue melted the foam, pages stick together. I put down a glitter pen clog because I had that today. Melted with a heat gun, substrate failure, art looks like everyone else's, muddy paint. So bad you threw it in the garbage, bleed through to the next page, chemically mixed bad mixes and mediums. Product made you sick, different size eyes, spills on the page, spilling coffee. You could also putting your paintbrush in coffee, because that could be a failure. Missteps like smeared ink or unintended result, when the result is not what is in your head. So there's just a lot of things. And Barb had said, the good thing about failures is learning what went wrong. And I had gotten this idea to do the mind map off of a TED Talk, but she had said right at the end of her talk that she doesn't have all the answers. She was talking about building things that end up being useless. She says, I don't have all the answers, but I shared my enthusiasm with others, and I asked the right questions. And I think this asking ourselves the questions, we learn from what went wrong and what not to do the next time. And then I was talking, right before you come in, I talked about some of my personal failures, like overcommitting to projects, not getting everything finished, and getting sidetracked are three of my personal failures. Distracted. Yeah, sidetracked. Not really a failure, Mary, setting goals. Yeah, I set goals and then I feel like I didn't achieve them. But that's a good point, Peg. Squirrel, let's see. We got on a sidetrack there. Hi, love mind maps. Maricha says, The Sabby Life. Thank you for a great group discussion. Good night, Sabby. Thanks for popping in. The Junking Data Girl. Here's mine. Oh, it'll only take 2 hours. 3 weeks later, halfway done. So, project underestimated time. Underestimated time to complete. That could probably be why I have a problem finishing. I don't take into account everything that I need to do what that fabulous project that I want to do is going to take a lot longer than what I thought it would. Or I'll get started on something. Here's another. Now you guys are having me tell you all my failures. Not only did I tell you all about my personal life, now I'm telling you all my failures. But I'll start something. And then I'll get bright ideas. This is kind of like getting sidetracked. But I'll get a bright idea, maybe even in that same project. Like here we're starting off on art failures, and I'll get a bright idea to mind map names for a male pincushion doll. Because somebody said I need a companion for Penelope. But we're not going there. We'll go there next week. We're going to mind map names for my male pincushion doll. I'm going to look for a male doll tomorrow when I go garage sailing. I might not find him, though. Let's see. Barb says, good to see everyone. I gotta fly. Good night, Barb. Arting here for the last 7 hours. Peg post my ATC. Woohoo. I'll check on that, Barb. Rabbit trails are too shiny to avoid. Yes, they are. Those rabbit trails. I call them bright ideas. This makes me feel better. Thank you. Well, there really is no failure in art. But as we look at it, there really are a lot of things that can lead us down a path that we don't want to go down. So, but then we learn what went wrong and how to avoid it in the future. Rabbit trails are always too shiny to avoid. Peg says true. Make a male doll should be easy. Yeah, I'm thinking that maybe I can find a Ken, the companion to the Barbie doll, a Ken doll, or even like a little baby doll, boy baby doll. I've got some little Dutch boy, but they're tiny. I mean, they're tiny ceramic figurines. I need something that has a head about the size of Penelope's head. We don't. This is going to be her companion, not her baby, not her child. So I'm thinking maybe like a Ken doll, and I just want the head. So if I find the entire doll, you're going to have to turn your head while I behead him, because he's going to fit. He's going to be a pincushion doll like Penelope. So I'll take the head off, and I'll have to form a pincushion. Shouldn't be too hard. Maybe instead of all this fluffy eyelash yarn, maybe he can have a beard. Like a Father Time or something. You guys can give me ideas on him next week. Well, I'll see what I can find, and maybe we can mind map what we want our male pincushion doll to look like. Maybe instead of, I got her at an antique store. She didn't cost me much, believe me. They call these dolls, I can't think of the name now. Oh, I can't think of it. I'll think of it later. But this is kind of like it's a brown fabric. I want to say it's velvety, but it's not even velvety. And then I got a Jimmy John's label on the back that says "We Deliver." That was left from an outing when I lived in Madison. I like Jimmy John's up there. I like their sandwiches, and I would tear their sticker off of the deli paper and bring it home. We deliver. So, but I was thinking I could make his body out of like a blue jeans, small blue jeans that I have I tore up. So, hi Debbie. Debbie Epps, welcome. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Boy, I haven't seen you in forever. Azure said, my biggest failure, or more so, struggling in art is composition and narrowing down to one decision. Composition. I'll have to put composition on here. Composition. And what was the other one? Narrowing down to one decision. So focus, maybe. Focus on one decision. In Azure's words. Or another art failure may be not putting the caps back on your pans. Or just not taking care of your supplies. I lost data connection. Am I back? Back? Yeah, I'm back now. I think I've lost data connection 20 million times tonight. I was talking about an art failure of not caring properly for your art tools, and I am very guilty. That's probably my fifth failure, is improper care of art tools. Like your stamps, maybe cleaning them off or at least stamping off the ink. I do like to keep my palette knives and my scissors. What? I used my scissors when I did, a pair of scissors when I did Lisa's Pick 10. And I had gesso. And I used the scissors to do something with the gesso. And by the time I got done with my Pick 10, those scissor blades were all covered with white gesso. And I did clean that off. There are some things that I can't stand. I can't stand grody palette knives. I do try to keep my paint brushes fairly clean. I finally found some Murphy's Oil soap. And I've been cleaning my brushes in Murphy's Oil soap. But that is one of my failures too. I get in such a hurry. I'll finish something and I'll set my tools down and I won't get back to it. Won't get the lid put on my paints. But I have trained myself to do that because I'll knock them off on the side here, and if they're not capped, they'll get on the rug, and we don't want that. That hasn't happened yet, but I've had some near misses. Yeah, I lose my data connection here in my live sessions an awful lot. I wish I knew how to stop that. Stencil blots. Maybe Camilla, Joan, you're leading us down another trail. She said maybe Penelope could have a butler, a jolly rancher farmer, a rat butler, or a musketeer. Hi, Tilda. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Well, we're going to do a male pincushion doll, and I know you guys have all given out some names, but next week we're going to mind map our male pincushion doll. I've already got a good start. I'm going to look for a head, a male doll. I'm going to behead him. We're going to make a denim body, and we're going to think of names for him, and I want to think of some way to use this eyelash yarn. I'm thinking a beard, but I don't want him to look too old. A beard would make him look like Father Time. Ready for the mystery. Oh, Tilda, you're gonna have to watch the replay for the mystery challenge. We've done that and moved on. Oh, Joan, I was teasing you. No, don't stop. We love it. So, those are the things that I wanted to cover tonight. Are you guys tired or do you want to keep going? The other thing that I have to do, well, I have plenty to do, but the other thing on my plate was to do some fussy cutting. Let me bring out that history book again. What did I do with that history book? Well, maybe we will and maybe we won't. Because I don't know what I did with that history. Here it is. I was going to talk about fussy cutting out of history books. And this is something that I picked up from Packer Dye. She's probably long gone now, but she told me in one of the live sessions here that when she does her fussy cutting out of magazines, like she was harvesting magazines tonight, she'll go through her magazines and she'll tear out all the pages first. You know, she'll just go through and tear out all the pages. Then she'll go back through and pick out the ones that she wants to save. So that's kind of what I've done here. I think these are pages that I wanted to save. This is a project I want to do. I think what I need to do is start a folder of projects that I want to do. Because this is like working off of a spool. They call it wrap a sweet secret message around an old sewing bobbin. And then, you know, they wrap a piece of fabric around there. That's a common project, but I haven't done it yet. I tore it out because it's something I want to do. But see, I like these old maps. This was actually a Tim Holtz. One of the magazines had pieces of art by Tim Holtz on decorative items. This was in a DIY magazine, do it yourself. And I tore it out because it was Tim Holtz alcohol inks. So, but then these are just things that I tore out to save. And then I'll save things like this. This is kind of like, these are things that will go in my giant blue book, because this is the whole, you know, it's like you'll see things that have inspirational poetry and a photograph. I don't want to cut this up, the whole thing to be there. So I'm thinking I'm just going to mount this in a glue book. I don't know, I cut it because it was interesting. But I want to get down to my history. I have all these things that I saved out. But if you're harvesting magazines, you might want to do what Packard Eye does. And it's a good way to go through your magazines, pull out the pages, then go through the pages and separate the things that you want to keep and throw away the rest so you can get rid of those stacks of magazines. And believe me, I've been doing that. But what I like are the history books. Like, I like things like, and it's kind of a shame to cut up a book. But when you consider that it's a Goodwill book, and you're enjoying it, and you're going to use it in something, an art journal that will be enjoyed, then my guilt complex is gone. So these are kind of some history images that I need to fussy cut. I just go through, what I do is I'm getting down to a page. These are images I saved. I'll go back and fussy cut them out. Here I go through, I decomposed this entire history book. This is the Story of America book. And I'm going to use this cover, for those of you who just came in, for my mystery project. I did a personal timeline. And I'm thinking I'm going to put my personal timeline in between the covers of this book and paint it out and make it the story of Meri. And I might put the Meri Atelier up here and then have my personal timeline in there. That's a bright idea. That's my mystery challenge number 3. Let's see. I want to get to some good images here. Like this one. I like these Liberty Bells on every one of these chapters. And this is a good one to cut out. They have the Liberty Bell. This is the Story of America. And I've been fussy cutting out like this. And then I'll go in and, like I said, I'm fussy cutting. I find that if I try to cut, like on this Liberty Bell, I don't know if you guys can see it, but there's several little notches up there. If I try to cut each one of those little notches out, it's a disaster. But if I just do some curvy lines up at the top, and if I leave that little white space around it, that's so much better than while I'm doing a fussy cutting session, trying to get my scissors exactly in line with that Liberty Bell. And then if I do my glue booking, and if I want it trimmed further, I can deal with it then. But I find that if I leave that little, and I've heard that little white space around your fussy cutting, I've heard that referred to as comic book style fussy cutting. I don't know if that's an official fussy cut term, but I know since I've started doing this, I'm a lot happier with my fussy cutting. Probably because I don't have to worry so much about it not being perfect, because I'm just cutting white space around it. And especially around hair and fur on animals, if I leave that little white space, it always turns out so much better. There's my little Liberty Bell. And then you can take this, decide if you want anything on here. I don't think I really want anything on here, so I'm just going to throw this away. Oh, Meri, you're throwing away. Now, if it's a magazine, I have less of a guilt complex than if it's see, I don't want anything here. I won't throw it away in front of you guys. If it's a book, I have a guilt complex about throwing away my pages. If it's a magazine, I don't have that guilt complex. Now here's an insect. This will go in a small. And in fact, some of these pictures, this is talking about victory over yellow fever. Sometimes while I'm fussy cutting, if I'm sitting in my recliner and just relaxing, not doing it on live, I'll sit there and I'll read. I'll read about it. Like this is talking about the victory over yellow fever and Dr. Walter Reed. Of all mankind's ailments, yellow fever was long among the most dreaded and the least understood. Epidemics in American cities killed thousands periodically from the colonial times through 1905. See, I don't think we in America, we are so blessed. I mean, there are things we don't have cures for, but we don't have these big epidemics like they faced in the earlier times. Well, we might have what is it, the superbug or something like that, but generally Ebola, something like that. But generally, when they had those pandemic yellow fever and what diphtheria and things like that, we don't face that as much today as what they faced in the last century even, and in times before that. I think we're very fortunate. Now here I have a decision to make. Do I want, or can I, see, I can get just a little bit here and all of these. Now do I want what they're doing here? They're surrounded by AIDS. Dr. Charles Burney operates at New York Hospital in 1901. His discovery of a pressure point on the abdomen, now called McBurney's point, greatly simplified the diagnosis of appendicitis. But I like that photograph. So I think if I just kind of cut here, and then what I'll do is, since I want this photograph, I'm just going to kind of cut around these heads and very close to these heads, because I'll go back and do fussy cutting of all the rest of this later when I'm not doing something online. That just kind of cut all of that. I kind of got too close there. And then I'll put that there, and then I kind of saved part of this, which if I'm doing a glue book, and that's what I use my fussy cuts for, is glue booking. And you could even save text for glue booking, and I might do some of that. Out of my childcraft encyclopedias, I save a lot of the text there. But I'm going to toss this. Now this is sometimes too, I'm just not inspired right away, so I'll flip down. I'll look for pages that might have something in inspired. Like this inspires me, so I'll skip these pages for now. Who were the robber barons? Giants of finance and industry. And then it names them here. What was a robber baron? They were a breed of businessmen who later become known as robber barons through financial double dealing and stock manipulation. And we'll end it there. Because that's not what this chat is about, but I love this picture. And these will all eventually go in my glue booking, which I need to do a glue book session. Now I'll go back and then, okay, do I want to keep this or do I want to toss it? I'm going to keep it because I like that robber baron article. And then maybe I'll go a few more pages down. I don't go in order. I'll go until I find something that really inspires me. Like here's the Morse code. This is a good one. This is how I deconstruct my history books when I find them. Not all of them. I have some history books that I won't touch. They're too good to touch. But here's a picture of a Morse code. And I'm just going to cut it out right here. And then I'll go back later and fussy cut it. Joseph Henry, the reward for reward lay in the consciousness of advancing science. Out from the assemblage of personal effects that shows his scientific interest. The surveyor's notebook. This is interesting. Here's the surveyor's notebook. A battery, induction coil, wire, pliers, and other tools. That's what I like about history. So I might keep a part of this one. And here again, I'm fussy cutting. What I'm really doing here is harvesting. I'm not really doing the fussy cutting here. This is more just getting the images, and then I'll go back and trim them up and fussy cut them. Now, like I say, when I do a book, like this history book, the reason I do history books is that I love history. I love the Smithsonian Magazine. There used to be a magazine out. I think they quit publishing. It was called Mental Floss. It was more of a challenge, a mental games, more of an IQ magazine. I like that one. I like the Romantic Homes magazines. Magazines, I don't have any guilt in cutting them up. Books, I have a little bit of guilt cutting them up. But again, I'm just in love with history. And I want my blue books to focus on history. And you don't find a lot of history in Better Homes and Garden magazine. So I'm looking for something that inspires me here. And that's what I'll do. I'll sit there and go, what do I want to cut next? And sometimes it just depends on my mood. Do I want to ship or Canon? Do I want to save the maps? So that's kind of how I approach. Oh, look at this. Ooh. Ooh, look at this. Hat styles. Isn't this cool? Now this would be something I might have trouble fussy cutting, but I'll save it. Fashions through the years. And it starts with the 1600s and goes to 1973. Well, you can see this book is not a current book. This book, I don't have the publication date, but you can see they only went to 1973 and it's 2018. So this book is an older book. It's a book that can be fussy cut. I got it at Goodwill. But look at that. You might find something like this in a magazine. You know, a fashion magazine might have something like this. But you aren't going to find all these wonderful images of young Henry and his journey in a Better Homes and Garden. Well, you might if they have a special article, but oh, here, look. Here's one. This page interests me. I go by how I'm feeling at the time. This is all about the sewing machine. Every woman her own seamstress. Here she's sitting at an old, it looks like it's a Singer machine. I think that says Singer. And this is talking about switches and stuff on the back and safety gauges. I'm just going to cut. And in this instance, right now, while I'm harvesting, because I'm interested in it, I'll keep the text with it. And I'll just put it on my pile of... And here, down here, Christopher L. Scholl's daughter demonstrates her father's typewriter in 1872. Scholl's, S-O-U-L-E, Soleil, and Carlos Gillidan had made the first practical typing machine in 1867. Are you bored with my history rants here? I love history. And I was thinking about history this afternoon, in fact. Not because I was fussy cutting, but I loved history when I was a freshman in high school. And I would practically, our history course, our freshman history course was civics. It was all about government. And I would sit there and memorize a history book. I mean, I would memorize pages and facts and, you know. And I don't think it was because I was so interested in government, because I really wasn't interested in politics at that time. It's that I loved history. I loved history. So that's what brings me to my history books. What's this? That interests me. I'm going to leave it alone for now. So that's my fussy cutting session. And this goes back to my mind mapping. Not my mind mapping, my timeline here. I'm going to pull this out. This will go with my other project. So that's all I have for tonight. Let's see. Let me look at chat here. I've been yakking away. Let's see. I welcomed Tilda. And I'm looking at reviewing chat. Peg says, Mary, I made a couple male faces I molded. I'll send you one. One is Santa type with a beard. Oh, so we're going to have a Santa companion. Okay. Well, thank you, Peg. Tilda says, cool idea. Peg says, hi, Susan. Susan bopped in. If you're still here, Susan, welcome. I'm looking at old chat. Joan says, what a great idea, the story of Mary, custom made for you. Gotta go, big day tomorrow. Well, she's probably long gone, but thanks for dropping by, Joan. Susan says, me to Mary, love history, always have. Yay, Susan! Yeah. It's a shame our schools no longer teach history. Do they no longer teach history in school? Or do they just teach it differently? I don't know. I started out in education when I started out at the university because I wanted to be an art teacher. We won't go there. But that's what I wanted to do when I went to the university. I wanted to be an art teacher. Actually, I was in the teacher's college and I dual matriculated between arts and sciences. So I dual matriculated between fine arts and art education and business education. But I was also very much when I was younger at that age, I was finding myself. And I think a lot of kids today, when you have to be a very goal-oriented person. And I think today's students probably are a lot more goal-oriented than maybe I was in the 1969. I was finding myself. But I'm glad I never dropped my art. I'm glad I never became an art teacher, but I never lost my love of art. I got geared off into business and programming and that type of thing. Went down a whole different path. But I loved history. I never lost my love of history, and I never lost my love of art. And somehow all of these things come together, even the programming, because here I am on YouTube, and even though it's not programming, it's technical. You have to create your videos. I wish I had the technical ability to stop my data connection from dropping, but there's a lot of technical savvy that you have to create your videos and go online. And for me, and this gets in kind of in with my timeline thing. For me, it's come full circle. Some of those dreams that I had, like being an art teacher, even though that dream never materialized for me, has come full circle to where, even though I'm not teaching it, I'm sharing it online on YouTube. So there, university. Peg says, one has a beard, one has a shave. You pick. Well, I think the one that is shaved might be better because I don't want a Santa Claus. I think the one without the beard might be better because I can always give him a beard with my eyelash yarn. We might be able to use the eyelash yarn and dye it brown and have a Paul Bunyan character. We could even do that with the Santa Claus too. But I think the unshaved one, Peg. Don't send both, just send one. Send the unshaved one if you're still here. And thank you for offering that. Now we can mind map him in the next session. I'll bring what I have next Friday night. Oh, next Friday night. I want to talk about next Friday night. We'll do that. We'll mind map the male pincushion doll and figure out that project. But also, I have something special planned for next Friday night that I don't want to let out of the bag. But if you're interested, you might want to show up. That's all I can say. And here again, I'll probably start it around 8 o'clock or so. It's not a mystery challenge or anything like that. But it's kind of a special thing that I want to share. So, or you can watch the replay. But if you're watching the replay, you can't participate in the same way if you show up. That's all I have to say about that.
So, thank you to everyone who stuck with me through all of this. And thank you to everyone that's watching the replays. I miss Lucia. Lucia, I don't know what's going on with you, but we miss you, lady, if you're watching. Janet's saying home. Already wrapped? All right. All right. I'll take them both, Peg. Well, you know what? We'll decide. We'll decide next week what one's best. Oh, no apologies needed, Susan. It's Friday night. Yeah, I'm wondering too. Oh, you mean you're wondering next Friday night? It's not a project, Janet. So there's nothing you need to prepare for, or it's not anything we're going to be doing, but you'll want to be here. Because what I'm going to do will not apply in the same way with people watching the replays. There'll be something else for them, but what I'm going to do Friday night will apply only to the people that are in the chat, and I'll probably start it around between 8 and 8:30 again. Yeah, I understand, Susan, that putting those craft room back together takes a lot longer than you intended. So thank you to everybody that stuck with me this long. I enjoyed this entire night. Thank you for listening to me go off on my history bit there. So I'm going to say good night to everybody. Thanks to all the new people coming in. Welcome to all the Ustreamers. Thank you, Azure. I enjoyed it too. Good night, everybody. Have a really great weekend. Take some time for yourself and do some art. Good night.